Greta
Van Fleet. We just watched Greta. Who's this directed by, Josh?
Oh, Neil Jordan.
And what's the lead actress name? Isabel Huppert, is that her name? Huppert. The only thing I've ever seen her in before this was I Heart Huckabees, and she has a sex scene with Jason Schwartzman where they have sex in the mud. And it's this weirdest sex scene I've ever seen. But other than that, I've never seen her in anything.
I'm just curious what
she was nominated for.
What else this guy made that is important.
I can already tell by this tone, Josh, that maybe you don't like this movie. But let's not show our hand too quickly. So this is a movie I didn't know about till 2 weeks ago, I think, when we watched. I knew about it before I watched the trailer a couple weeks ago. I saw it pop up on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, what in the hell is Greta? Like,
I didn't know about it till we sat down in the theater.
Yeah, you didn't know about it. So I knew about it, like, vaguely.
I didn't.
I knew the cast. Like I said, the lead actress, I've seen her in a couple movies, and I knew she was nominated for an Oscar.
She's hit girl.
What I took away from the trailer is that this was going to be like a thriller, a stalker type movie, and that is essentially...
it is essentially a stalker film.
That's essentially what it is, but I think maybe... But just by hearing what you're saying, maybe you're reading the movie wrong. Let me tell you how I viewed the movie.
Okay.
From the untrained eye. I'm not saying you have an untrained eye, but the way I viewed the movie is that it is essentially a stalker type thriller movie. But I also think it is definitely a B movie. Like, it's the kind of movie where, yeah, there's suspense and it can be effective, but the world that it takes place in doesn't have to make sense or have to be taken serious, because I don't take this movie serious at all.
This is not a B movie.
It definitely is a B movie, dude.
It's not a B
I guess
movie.
we're just seeing this movie differently.
It's not a C movie either.
It's a B movie.
It's not even a D movie.
No, Josh, I'm about to end this review with this nonsense. You picked the weirdest shit to just bash, because The Kid Who Would Be King.
Do I?
The Kid Who Would Be King.
Do I?
Listen, The Kid Who Would Be King was a perfectly fine kids family movie,
and I gave it a C.
And this is a really well-made, well-shot, well-scored thriller. It's just not that great. I mean, it's not amazing, and it has a final twist that almost ruins the movie for me, because I think it's dumb as balls.
The whole film is dumb as balls. The whole fucking film is dumb as balls. Everyone in this film has not one fucking thought process.
That's not true.
No, it's completely true.
That's not true. And
okay,
that's not true, because I think I think honest to God, Chloe Grace Moretz doesn't make that dumb of decisions, but everybody around her, she doesn't. Maybe one. She makes one. Maybe. And that's, you know what, it's in the third act, and I think it's the only dumb decision. The other ones, you think they're gonna be dumb, but they're not. They don't lead to anything dumb. Other than that, she's showing sympathy to an old lady. You can't tell who's gonna be a stalker. But I think everybody around her is dumb. I think the police department is dumb. I think her boss is dumb. I think her friend is kind of dumb.
You mean Alton Brown? Because that's who they tried to make him out
actually,
to be.
I don't think she's that dumb. And like I said, this is I know maybe this isn't a B grade movie for you, but the way that this movie is formatted...
Oh, I know it's shot like a B movie,
no,
and not necessarily shot like a B movie, but it's supposed to be a B movie.
I think it's very cinematic at times. I think the cinematography is very good, and I think the score is very effective, and I think this lead...
Oh, the score's fantastic.
And the lead actress is chewing up this scenery, and if you say she wasn't good, then you didn't understand what she was doing in this movie, because she is very good in this movie.
I never said anything about her.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Because I thought she was great.
I think she's great.
It's everything else.
And I think the movie...
It's everything else.
I think the movie... This is yet again another case, just like The Kid Who Would Be King. You mother effer. Let me tell you what. There's so many times in this movie where I wanted to laugh, and I just felt like there was, like, dead in our audience. And you were part of that.
Because there was a reason it was dead. Because the movie was shit.
I think with a proper, good, big audience, there'd be a lot of laughs in this movie.
I don't think there would be.
I think there's a lot of good black comedy in here that really struggles if you're not in the right audience. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Where?
I think the movie it's funny all the way through because it's ridiculous. Like the things that Isabel Huppert or whatever the hell her name is, the things she's doing, it is uncomfortable, but it is funny. I think it's kind of funny. It's not like slapstick, like telling jokes funny, but the things she's doing is kind of like, it makes for uncomfortable laughs, I think. That's just like sort of like how James McAvoy is in Split.
Wait, hold on, wait. You said, going back, it just dawned on me.
Oh boy, here we go.
You said that she did one stupid thing in the third act.
She does do one stupid thing.
No, I think she does two stupid things.
I think Chloe
when she goes and checks on the fucking dog. This woman is stalking you and you go back to her fucking house?
She didn't check on the dog, though. See,
she went back to her house.
I could hear when she was going back to the house, because I thought she was about to do something stupid.
She did do something stupid.
I thought she
went back to her place of the person that's stalking her. Who does that?
This isn't really a spoiler, but she does. After she finds out that
who does
after she finds out that Greta is like a psychopath, essentially, she goes back to the house. And I thought she was going to break into the house and check on the dog.
Well, she didn't have to break into the house.
Not, all she does
the
is
dog walks outside with Greta. She doesn't need to check in the break in the house.
All she does is check mail.
Yeah, she rummages through her through if anything, Greta's trash, which is illegal, by the way.
That's the thing that I don't think Greta ever knows about throughout the whole entire movie. That's how I feel about it. It didn't affect.
Which means nothing to the film.
It does mean something, because you know, if she wouldn't have done that, she would have never met this one person in a diner. That would have gave an extra revelation to who Greta is. Yeah. So I mean.
Right.
See, you're not thinking like I am here. She would have never found out that Greta is a damn liar. Is a straight up liar. And I'm trying not to be too spoilery here. Do not listen to this crazy man that I'm sitting behind that I used to call a friend.
Hey, I'm not the one that made 17 videos about the Oscars. Crazy man.
Here's what I think your problem is here. Here's what I think.
Yes, Caleb. Tell me my problem. Tell me my problem.
I think you should know what these movies are about before going into them, because the last time this happened, you didn't like the movie, and this time it happened. I think you should have a sleep, because I could tell in the first freaking 10 minutes that you didn't like this movie, dude. And I think the first act of this movie is perfectly fine. It's a second act that isn't great, and I think it has a really good third act
that isn't great.
I think it has a completely bonkers third act that I enjoyed a lot, with the exception of one stupid decision made by Chloe Grace Moretz, and a final twist that I'm like, no, Greta's smarter than that. Like, she would know better. But like, that's just me. I enjoyed the movie for what it is.
She wouldn't get that. Dude. She's crazy. No, she's psychotic.
Nah, she's way more manipulative.
She's injecting
and smarter
people
than that.
with drugs. She's that stupid. Yeah, that's right, Caleb. You're right. She's not that freaking stupid.
I know what I was getting myself into with this movie. I was expecting a thriller B movie, and it was actually way more well made than I was expecting. I think it ramps up a lot of good tension. There's one moment in the third act where I jumped almost, and you probably did too, but you're not going to admit it.
What?
There's a gore scene. The only gore scene in the movie is very shocking to me, and I like that.
That was great.
I know
that was the best part of the film.
Oh, I know it was great. Don't deny it.
That was the best part of the film.
Good. I'm glad.
It's the best part of the film,
friends.
It's the best part of the film.
Here's what I'm leading to. I just want to put my opinions out there. If somebody walks out of this movie calling this movie shit, I would totally understand it. Because
it's not.
Here's why. If you look at Metacritic, it has 13 positive reviews, 12 mixed reviews, and about 5 negative reviews. So I'm like, oh, that checks out. I could totally see how someone could walk out of this. But me personally, I knew ahead of time what I was getting myself into, and I was all in for it, with the exception of a couple stupid errors. And I don't think the movie's that good, but I had a fun time with it. And I would have had a lot more fun time with it if we was in a more active audience. I would have actually liked an audience that made noise and talked during this movie. I think I would have liked it more.
We had this discussion, and I think it plays into why I feel the way that I do about the movie. We had this conversation about how movies in the thriller and the drama and horror films, with movies like Get Out that came out, and like Us is getting ready to come out, like all of these movies that have turned, and Cabin in the Woods, that turned the horror genre on its head and made art and something different, and made a new way to tell these stories. And then you go into this and it's the same paint by numbers stalker genre, and it's a B movie that got a wide release. And I'm just like,
see, that's where you're wrong.
I've seen all this.
You yourself are calling it a B movie. These other movies that maybe you're classifying it with, take themselves very serious, and they're dumb, and they think that they'll be like, this is a compelling story. This isn't that. It realizes its ridiculousness. It's like I said, it's not like a hilarious movie, but there are some funny moments, and probably some unintentional funny moments. But I do think what drives it above the typical by the numbers, like thriller horror, like you're saying, and I agree, it's not on par with like Get Out and stuff like that. Like, it's not, but it's also not trying to be. This isn't a movie that's going to get nominated for Best Picture next year like Get Out did. But the thing that separates it are two lead performances. I think that they just stand out way above a lot of these other like sexy thrillers that tend to be released like year round. I'm trying to think of the one that came out a couple years ago. I just remember it was like Red and Black was the case.
I know the one you're talking about. Well, there's about
and
one.
It's like way better
there's
than
like
that.
there's at least one every year, or one comes out every other year.
Yeah, and I don't think this is that because first
to...
off, this movie's not sexy for one thing.
Well, no, it is
ugly and it is ugly and uncomfortable. If anything,
I'm just saying, even a B movie should strive to do something different.
And I still think at times it does, and I think because its art direction makes it a little bit different. Sometimes all you need is proper cinematography with a good lead performance, and you don't need an amazing, like, groundbreaking script, because it doesn't. I even think some of the dialogue here is bad. Like, some of it's just bad. Like, I like Micah Monroe as an actress, but her dialogue that she's given is not good. That's the best friend character. It's not good. Like, every time she tried to say something funny, I was like, nah. It's like, leave it to Isabel. Like, she's better than you. And I think Chloe Grace Moretz, I think she's a really good actress, and I think there's moments of genuine tension here. It's not like a horrifying movie, but there's some stuff here in the third act that I think maybe it's just the way that it's shot and acted and dealt with a lesser director and lesser actors. It would have been cheap and cheesy, but I think it's good. And that's all I have to say. It is cheesy, but it's also a B movie. So I mean, I view it for what it is, and that's all I have to say. There's nothing else to say. I totally understand why you wouldn't like it or somebody else wouldn't like it, but I did like it. I'm never gonna watch it again. I'm gonna forget about it in 2 weeks, but I like them.
I'm gonna forget about it next week, because next week,
pumped about next week. Captain Marvel,
the big boys come to play.
So
well, big girls come to play.
So my grade for this movie is a grade that I usually give to movies like this. I give movies like The Purge the same kind of grade, because I have a fun time while watching it. B+. No, this is no. What?
Like the majority
whoa.
of
it is not a B+.
Folks. You gotta understand about Caleb.
I've been giving A-
Hold on.
crazy.
You gotta understand Caleb Luther when it comes to his movie ratings. If it's an average film, it's a B. Or a B+.
This is
no C's are given by Caleb Luther.
That's I will give so many C's by the end of this year, unless there's just no like shitty movies this year.
I mean, shitty movies.
I don't think this is shitty.
Except for this one.
I give this a B-. Same thing that I gave like The Purge last year, and like a couple other like thriller horrors that.
That's high.
But you can't be too shocked, because there are people giving it these scores, Josh. There's other Calebs out there like me, and there's Joshes out there too. A bunch of sticks in the muds that don't understand. I need a wine glass. That don't properly understand horror. I'm kidding. This is not groundbreaking at all. This is nothing special, but I think yet again the direction and the acting elevated above typical tropes in terms of thriller. That's just how I feel. I totally understand how you feel. What do you give it?
C-.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I get that.
It's not a complete fail, but it's not even close to a success.
Just for the record, all the arguments I was making against you is for the sake of entertainment value. I didn't think you liked the movie, and I'd say half the people that watch this movie ain't gonna like it. But I think the other half can have a really fun time with it, or you might be like Josh and just be like, screw this movie. That's our opinion on Greta. What'd you think?
Off the rocker.
Let us know below. Hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.